Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here. This is your Planning Outlook video updated on Tuesday the 17th of October. And we've got rid of one major storm system from the British Isles, but some further deep low pressure systems moving in off the Atlantic heading into the weekend. More on that in a moment. In the short term, really a very messy picture with very weak frontal zones moving their way northeastwards across the country, all quite a tricky one for getting absolute detail out of, hence a lot of low confidence that you'll see in all our forecasts over the next few days. Through the weekend and beyond then, it looks as though eventually southwesterly winds will dominate once again, which will bring a lot of rainfall to western mountains, particularly focused on England and Wales. This chart shows you total accumulating rainfall and will run through over a full week ahead. You'll see how rain just begins to fill in across the country over the next few days. We're going forwards in 12-hour steps, but increasingly heavy amounts of rain coming in through into the weekend and then ongoing into the start of next week, Monday, Tuesday, as fronts become slow moving. That's where we've got the scope for some prolonged rainfall totals across particularly West Wales, North West England, even into Western Scotland. But it's England and Wales that may well just bear the brunt of those heavier prolonged falls of rain. But either way, Western Mountains, again, very wet underfoot. Some flooding is possible as we start next week. Detail somewhat uncertain. In terms of any snowfalls within this, I think little or nothing, even on the highest summits. Brief pushes of cooler air, but on the whole, it's a mild picture and we're talking about rain. Let's run through these charts then. Here's Wednesday first of all, and fairly high pressure across Scotland brings a largely dry day, but legacy of previous cloud and spits and spots of drizzly rain could just plague the south and southeastern highlands, whilst some northern summits have a chance of clearing. Across England and Wales, a weak frontal zone edging its way northwards, bringing cloud and some outbreaks of rain, just edging northwards into the Peak District, I think, in the afternoon. But much of the Lake District, Yorkshire Dales essentially dry, but some low cloud on the eastern hills there. The winds tending to strengthen from the south as we go through into Wednesday night and into Thursday. It could be some strong and gusty winds around the Highlands for Thursday daytime, generally less than gale force though, and a bit of a lull may be coming through for England and Wales. A complicated day really. Don't take any detail from this chart with absolute certainty. The basic message is one frontal zone, a complex feature moving its way northeastwards, affecting parts of Scotland. In some places could rain for a good part of the day, particularly across the southern half of the Highlands with extensive low cloud cover. Another frontal zone driving in from the south of Ireland, eventually getting into southwest England and across into West Wales later on, which could just envelop most of Wales with heavy rain before the end of the day. Somewhere in between down the Pennines that you might find a reasonable day, but expect some low cloud and bits of drizzle to be around. Just check your latest details, I think, is the best bet for Thursday. Friday doesn't get a great deal easier really. Some frontal zones extending away northeastwards. They may leave a legacy of rain and drizzle and low cloud across Scotland much of the day. The clearance may not be as quick as shown here, but something of a brief ridge of higher pressure comes in from the southwest, which may give a decent day to much of Wales, northern England, maybe even the south of Scotland, with an improvement tending to come through from the southwest with time. So I think for Scotland at least, the idea of improving through the day, and that improvement may be quite marked as the day goes on. Notice the southwest though, we've got the next developing Atlantic storm system, not the remnants of a hurricane this time, but still a powerful mid-latitude depression that's going to swing in by Friday night. So that by midday on Saturday, that's the chart that we've got at the moment. Some uncertainty on the exact track of this system. It looks as though it goes somewhere across the central swathe of Britain, if you like, with its strongest winds focused more on the south of the country, but there could be pretty widespread gales across many of the mountains. A chance that Scotland just avoids the worst of these strong winds, but just keep an eye on the forecast detail by this stage. Zones of rain just wrapped around this area of low pressure, some heavy and prolonged bursts for some, whilst locally you may just escape for a good few hours. So again, just keep a close eye on your local details before this time. By Sunday, that low looks like it weakens and begins to move away towards the east. A legacy of a showery westerly airflow coming in could give some frequent rainfall to western Scottish mountains. A little bit cooler as well by this stage. Showers moving in from the west across England and Wales may be fairly well scattered as pressure just briefly builds, but notice further fronts just waiting in the wings. So that by the time we go through into Monday, we see a broad southwesterly airstream in place, trailing, waving frontal zone extending back into the Atlantic, some heavy and prolonged rain on that. Exactly where it is, of course, hard to say, but it just seems to be focused a bit further south, so Wales, perhaps still as far north as Cumbria and Dumfries and Galloway, whereas Scotland just seems to be a bit more to the north of this frontal zone, so it's showery rain. Still could be frequent for Western Scotland, but just not quite as intense. So although confidence is fairly low, the general idea for next week from most of the forecast models just seem to be that low pressure and wind and rain coming in off the Atlantic is still going to be the main picture. The risk of upland gales at times, some rainfall that's pretty prolonged over those western hills and mountains as we've just been mentioning. And I think not too much changing as the week goes on, although we can't get too much detail out of the day-by-day story. The only thing that seems to change is the idea of pressure building a bit more into the mid-Atlantic, maybe just steering the jet stream a bit further north as it comes out of North America. That could just turn our wind flow a little bit more west or northwesterly, so a cooler air stream coming in as we go towards the later part of October. May just lower the freezing levels and the temperatures with time. But just a struggle to really get high pressure anywhere near to or over the top of the British Isles. So I think the idea of being showery at best, unsettled at worst as we go forwards in the next 10 days. So hopefully that's been useful for you. It's still a basically unsettled face of autumn that stays with us as we head towards the later stages of October. Those are our social media links there on the screen, so you can join us on those accounts. Thanks for watching this video, and bye for now.